Oh, you have a mic too?
Yeah, but you know me, dude. I'm gonna be in the background. This is your show.
I know, but still, I feel like people should know. It's not just me here. I mean, it's mostly just me here, which is kind of weird.
Just, you know what? You should just pretend this is the voice in your head, but now it's amplified.
It's like, oh, and we're both Gemini, so it kind of works. It's like the other side, if you think about it.
Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna get serious in the whole Gemini thing and the whole horoscope thing.
Give me your birth time and where you were born, because I'm so curious to read your chart. Has Perla ever looked it up?
No, because she's a normal person.
See, but it's so much fun. See, I don't follow it like as in I let it run my life, but it's fun.
Well, this goes back to something you've told me a while back ago, how it's more so of a tool rather than something you should base your life on, which I do agree.
That's how it's been explained to me, and that's kind of just how I take it. But yeah, I'm a Gemini. I like to talk, which is how we kind of ended up here.
Very true. Very true.
Well, I guess this is my podcast, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I was really nervous, so I kind of smoked, and I smoked a little bit more than I intended to, so I'm a little tweaked. But you know what? It's okay. It's gonna make this more fun, because now I'm gonna be all calm, relaxed. It's gonna be like. See, I know a lot of people be talking to themselves in the room, even if you don't want to admit it, but like I do sometimes. And you ever have those thoughts where you're just like, you know, I should have a podcast. It's kind of what happened. You know, one day I was really ranting to my friend Gio. Shout out Gio. Gio was actually the first person I ever told this idea to 2 years ago. And I know 2 years ago is a long time, but better late than never.
Truth be told, 2 years, especially post-pandemic, it's kind of a blur.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, 2 years doesn't seem like shit.
It was mid-pandemic when I kind of thought about it. So think about it. It was some crazy times. But I haven't even said the name of this podcast. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, you know, like I said, I like to talk. So my podcast is called Let Me Fucking Talk. Well, I'm sure you guys have seen the title by now. Everywhere. On Instagram, TikTok, hopefully Spotify, and all them other things. But
all the DSPs.
Yeah, all of them. So, welcome guys to Let Me Fucking Talk. And how the name came about, of course, was with my brother Eddie. Shout out Eddie. Because growing up, I was very much a very sheltered child, very much Hispanic household where, you know, you're not always able to speak how you actually feel or your feelings or anything like that. So for a long time, my voice was very small. And as I've gotten older, I've been able to actually use it more. So kind of how it came about. Also, one of my pet peeves is when people interrupt me and don't let me talk. So now I have a whole ass podcast where y'all are just going to listen to me talk.
Talk your shit, dude.
Yeah, dude. I'm a spicy Latina that just wants to talk her shit. Duh. But yeah, so that's kind of how this came about. And, you know, my brothers, if it wasn't for you guys, for Aldo, Eddie, DJ, I wouldn't really be doing this, you know, because when it comes to anything that I want to do, I don't tell people unless I'm actually ready to do it. At least the people in my life, the ones that I'm closest to, especially my brothers, because they're going to force me to do it. They're going to push me until I do it. Like, there's no if, ands, or buts. It's not a matter of if, it's about when, you know, with them. So I made it happen.
And pushing is a PC version. What you're really trying to say is bully you.
Oh yeah, they bully me.
Yeah,
they'll be mean about it too. They'll be like,
in a loving way, of course.
No, yeah, it's for my own good, and I know that in the end, it's like they knew I wanted to do this, so here we are. And if I fidget a lot, I'm sorry, because when I'm high, too, I'm still a little, you know, I fidget a lot. So you're gonna see me like fidget a lot. Don't mind me.
You're on your Doctor Strange shit. You throwing up gang signs.
Hey, I talk with my hands, okay? So that's one thing that we're going to have to just get out of the way now. I talk with my hands. I talk very, you know, with my whole body.
There's nothing wrong with that. You're trying to get your point across.
Exactly. I feel like that's the best way to do it. Especially when, like I said, I haven't had much of a voice. So now I'm just like with my whole body, my arms, my hands, everything. Well, anyways, so most of the people that even listen to this know who I am, but for those that don't, I haven't even said my name. My name's Lynn Lopez. Lynn Denise Lopez.
Damn, she used her whole government.
Yeah, it's my whole government name. Anyways. But on socials, my @ is LitLynn. I I have a love-hate relationship with that app, but you know what? It's stuck. We're going to keep it. We're not going to change it. That's what it is. That's what a lot of people know me as.
How did that name come about?
I don't know. I really don't. I honestly don't know who said it first, but I remember for a bit, I always struggled with my at, just trying to figure it out. I had like my name with like a bunch of underscores for a while, my name with my middle name, my name with like a number, but it always felt so boring. And then I think just when I was in that real beginning of my party phase, Lynn came about. So that's what everyone was really starting to say lit too for everything. So it kind of just went because there's not a lot of things you could do with Lynn that sound cool, like as an at. So that just kind of worked out. And there are people who call me Lynn that I will let it pass, like Mysterio from Fight Club. He always calls me Lynn. I just let it go. Even Sav still sometimes does, especially for drinking. But it's okay. I don't mind it. I'm cool with it.
I mean, you're so much cool with it that you'd even let someone gaslit you by that name.
Yes, actually, that is a funny story. Someone did, shout out Spider Tech, love that guy. He actually guest listed me under that at, and I've never been guest listed before with my at, so it was a very funny experience. But yeah, I've had a lot of interesting experiences. For those that don't know, I'm sure most of you do again, but I just turned 26, like, 2 weeks ago now? So we're still in Gemini season, guys, so if you're feeling chaotic, if you want to have a good time, now's the time. It's the beginning of summer, too, so it's perfect. But yeah, I'm a Gemini, Libra moon, Virgo rising, whatever that means. I don't fully know. I just know what they are. And I just turned 26. Usually around this time, it seemed like a good time to do this too. I really wanted to aim to do this. Well, actually, originally I was thinking like towards fall, end of summer. But then I really started thinking about it. I was like, the best time I should do it is around my birthday-ish or around that time. Because it's always around this time that, one, I either get really depressed, which didn't really happen this year, like it did, but it didn't. But two, it gives me a time to really reflect on my life and just where I'm at. That's why I get depressed, but this year I did not. So it's a good thing, progress, you know? And at 26, you know, I'm still very young. There's times where you think that you're not, but I still am very young. And I always try and take the time to really sit back and think about what I've learned. So that's pretty much going to go into our topic for today. Today I made a list of 26 things I've learned up until now. Which honestly, at first was a little hard. I was like, can I really write out 26 things? But once I got into it, I was like, okay, yeah, I could do this. Because, you know, I just think about the advice that's given to me. If y'all hear any noise, sorry. But anyways.
Yeah, we're still working on the studio.
Yeah, but, you know, it's the first one. It's okay. I'm chilling. Honestly, we could have just done this with, like, our phone cameras, and that's it. But, you know.
Not around me.
Nah, fortunate enough to have all this. But yeah, and at 26, I feel like I've learned a lot, and I still have a lot to learn, you know. One thing for sure, we never stop learning. So let's just go into what I have written down here. And like I said, growing, healing, changing, growing. It's going to be as comfortable as fuck. Always. That's the one thing I've learned. I remember when I was still in a victim mentality, I used to be so mad at the world, and I didn't understand, like, I was like, oh, me, why me, why me, you know? And I feel like everyone's gone through that at some point, you know? Where we're just questioning why the universe is, like, working against us, but it's supposed to. All these roadblocks, all these uncomfortable growing pains, there are what's going to build us to be better and to get us to where we're at. And then it's always going to pay off. At least that's what I've seen. Like, all the hard times, I've learned some kind of lesson. All these lessons have come from either hard times or people that, like, I admire and, you know, inspire me, who have taught me these things. But a lot of times from really shitty times. And so when I look back on my life, yeah, those my healing journey, my growth, it was never comfortable. It sucked so much in the moment, But I'm really, really proud of who I am today and the person that I'm becoming. So can't really be too mad at it, you know? And this goes into number 2. Part of my healing and growing is me learning that it's okay to say no, which I've always been really bad at because of the way I grew up. I became very much a people pleaser without realizing. I just thought that it was easier to just accommodate to everyone to, you know, make situations less uncomfortable or to better a situation. I would just go along with, you know, this, whatever the status quo or whatever it is. And a lot of the time it would be sacrificing what I would want, you know, to just appease others, you know, and rectify the situation. Whether it was like when I was in a bad relationship and I just didn't want to fight anymore, I'd be like, I would just apologize, or I would just agree. Or even in friendships sometimes, friendships is actually a lot harder to say no for me. Like, I'll say yes to my friends for almost everything, and now, like, I have those boundaries where if I don't want to go to something, I won't go, or if something doesn't sit right with me, like, I'll let them know. And it's okay, because at the end of the day, like, if your friends don't get that, then they're not really good friends, you know? And that goes into number 3, which is setting boundaries. If setting boundaries makes anyone uncomfortable, it's because they benefited from you when you didn't have boundaries. That is one thing I very, very, very much have learned when I started setting boundaries with people, and I noticed who kind of fell out of being, fell out of being friends, but also just certain people that, you know, our friendship, I can tell, is distanced a bit, and, or, I don't know, just like,
you figured out who were the vampires and who were the people that could walk during the daytime.
Yes, the energy vampires, all the people that, you know, benefited from you not having boundaries. They very much made themselves known without realizing on their part, but I could see it, you know. I was just like, made a mental note. But yeah, boundaries are very important. Also, another thing I very much struggled with, because like I said, I was a people pleaser, and even though I still sometimes fall into it, but that's the thing with growing. Like I said, you never stop, and the one thing for sure too is, like, if you backtrack and see yourself going back into those habits, it's not about being hard on yourself in those times. So you just got to keep moving forward and rectifying the situation, and you're always gonna have certain obstacles where it's gonna present itself to you and be like, and testing you, like, okay, are you really about those boundaries? Are you really gonna, you know, stand by them and really make sure that they're respected? There we go. And that goes into, these all kind of go into each other, but also not really. But the next one, this has more to do with, like, I mean, you could say this with friendships too, but this is more like with relationships. And this is what I very much learned so much better now, is that if you're confused, it's a no. And what I mean by that is that if you're unsure how they feel about you or what they want from you, or in that type of situation, more than likely it's a no. So one thing now, if I ever feel confused and I feel like I'm questioning not only the relationship or what we're doing, but also myself, because that's where I really fucked up in the past, is letting other people make me question even myself and my own judgment, my own intuition. You gotta listen to your intuition, girl, or guys, anybody. Like, your intuition knows. You know at your core what's up. So if you're confused, it's a no. And number 5 is probably one of my favorite things, because it's very much after, like I said, I was a very sheltered child. So once I got out of that, I've pretty much always been like this. But be spontaneous, because some of the best adventures and some of the best moments you'll ever have are from spontaneous moments. And I know Aldo knows that. I know anybody that's in my life knows that, because I am that person where if someone's like, oh, let's do this, I'll be like, all right, fuck it, let's do it, you know? That's how. Recently, for example, I snuck into Coachella, allegedly.
Yeah, that never happened.
Nah, but yeah. Anyways, that's its own story time, but that was a lot of fun. Last minute, my friend was like, I like to, I was texting my friend, and we're like, if you're down, I'm down. And that's pretty much how I live my life. If you're down, I'm down. And that's pretty much what we did. And we got in, and it was a great time. Do I remember half the night? No, but it was a great time. I know I had a great time. And that's all that matters. And this next one, see, it's one of those things where you know it, but it won't register until like you really learn to like love yourself. And this one, my friend Teresa told me when I was going through a really hard time, and I will always remember that time, and I will always remember when she said this to me. And I would always text her if I needed her to remind me, and she would say it all the time. She would tell me all the time, and even now, like, it's become like my thing, my mantra, and it's that you are the sun, and that you are the tequila, not the chaser. And what we mean by that is that you are everything. You trump all these other fucking fuck boys, whatever, anybody that doesn't make you feel like you are right here, they ain't it. You attract. You do not chase. You don't chase anybody. Because it's from that scene of Grey's Anatomy where Christina tells Meredith, he is very dreamy, but he is not the sun. You are. And that's pretty much you guys. Like, you are the sun. Just, you know, when I was going through that time, I was really heartbroken, sad ass bitch. And Teresa was a real one, because she would tell me that all the time. And anyone that knows me knows that I say that all the time now. It's because it's like it's our thing. And I tell it to everybody too when they're going through that. I'm like, that's when you know you're healing, is when you can pass that on to like another person who's going through the same situation, you know? Oh man, I already need water. Also just high, so got mo. Alright, but this honestly goes very, very well with the next one, which is never be a second option. And like I said, these all kind of, there's certain ones that obviously go into each other where they're more relationship based, but you can honestly do that even with your friends, because, or just anything in life, even if it's a job where people try to, you know, make you feel like shit and make you feel like a second option. Fuck that, dude. You're so much more worth than that. You are the sun. Remember that. You are the sun, you are the tequila, not the chaser, and you deserve to be number one in every fucking aspect of your life. You should always be priority in, like, the things that really matter, you know? And the next one that I've learned is probably, this is another one that Teresa told me. See, Teresa's a real one, okay? She, like, is a great, great, great friend. So, shout out Teresa. I love you. And we say this all the time, and we really, really mean it. And again, it's like another one of our mantras, and it also in a way is a really good affirmation. And it's a reminder that what is meant for you will always be for you. And if it wasn't, then it simply wasn't meant for you. And it's true. I think back on a lot of situations that didn't work out, whether, again, friendships, relationships, jobs, any opportunity where I used to get really, really discouraged when things wouldn't work out, whether it was any of the above. And I used to be so hard on myself, like, why me, why me, why me? You know, victim mentality. We don't do that. But I very much was that person. I would be very hard on myself, hard on the universe, and again, that just creates more blockage into your life, which keeps out all the abundance and all the good shit from coming into your life, is when you stay in that mentality where you're thinking that, you know, you're so hung up on the thing that didn't work out that you don't focus on the possibilities of the things that could, like, maybe that didn't work out because something better is meant for you. Usually how it goes. And I remember even thinking about this story I had heard about this lady who, I think she, like, worked in the Twin Towers, something like that. I'm paraphrasing here, but I remember the story. She, like, worked in the Twin Towers, and every day she woke up, like, at a certain time every morning, like clockwork, and would go and take the subway because it was really, from where she lived, it was a really long ride there, so she would have to get up at a certain time every day. And this one day, I guess at some point in the middle of the night, like, the block or something, there was a blackout. And so her clock had reset. So her alarm didn't go off that day. So she was late to work. So she didn't make it on time. And in that time, people were calling her, like, trying to see if she was okay because she was supposed to be at work. And she wasn't. And because of that, she didn't die in the when the whole thing happened in 2001. So, like I said, what is meant for you will always be for you. Sometimes shit doesn't work out or certain things don't happen. And you can be mad at the universe about it. Or you can look at it as, you know what, maybe something better is meant for me. Someone better, something better, a better job, a better friend. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's certain things that this may not apply to. Like, there's always, like, exceptions to everything. But when it comes to certain things like that, I think it's really, really important to just think about that. Don't get me wrong, don't dismiss your feelings, because obviously you're going to be disappointed in life. It's okay to feel sad, mad about a certain situation, but it's just not dwelling on it and not staying in that mentality, and just remembering to move on and knowing that there's always going to be better out there for you, because where you're supposed to be in life, that's where you're supposed to be. So let's see. Oh, some of these are going to be like a little random. But these just apply to me, whether you take them or not. But the next one is to always check the weather. And I know it's super random, but to me, it's just, I like to think about what I'm gonna wear that day. Like, do I need to take a jacket? Always wear sunscreen, by the way. Sunscreen is so important. No matter what weather it is, wear sunscreen. That's how you're gonna stop yourself from aging.
You sound like my boss right now.
Because it's true, dude. SPF is so important. See, that's another rule. We're going to add another one. But SPF is so important. We're just going to make that the same one. Because weather, you know. But SPF is so important, and I cannot preach that enough. Like, you not wearing sunscreen, that's how you get wrinkles. That's how you age.
I'm a guy, though, so I don't have to worry about that.
No, you do. Dude, that's so important. SPF, whether you're a guy, girl, she, they, whatever your pronouns are. But sunscreen doesn't matter. It's so important. It doesn't matter who you are. It's so important. Please wear your sunscreen. But what I mean is, you know, check the weather, because there'll be times where I'll leave every day. I like to see how hot it's going to be, if it's going to rain. And then I don't know, it just always surprises me sometimes when I'm at work or when I'm hanging with people and, like, it starts raining, but I checked the weather, so I knew it was going to rain, or I knew it was going to be hot, like if it was super cold in the morning, but I knew it was going to be hot later. People be surprised, like, oh my God, it's raining. And I'll have my umbrella already. I'll have my jacket. I'm like, yeah, didn't you check the weather? Okay, I know it's super random, but I don't know. It's just something that I like to do. Every now and then, I'll just wake up and I won't be having it and I won't check. And a lot of the times, those are the days I'm mad at myself. I'm like, I should have checked. But
your yellow umbrella.
Yes, my yellow umbrella. If you know, you know. But like I said, I be mad at myself. But I can only be mad at myself. But speaking of mad, that goes into the next one, which is not everything needs a reaction. And that one is such a big one that it took me embarrassingly long to learn, you know? And I feel like that also goes into the fact that because I didn't have a voice, once I started to use it, sometimes I didn't know how to use it very well. And then my point wouldn't be, I couldn't get my point across because I would just be reacting. I would just be mad. I'd be, you know, not handling certain situations well. And because I don't handle those certain situations well, my point doesn't get come across. And that's the thing. You know, a lot of the times, there's going to be a lot of people and a lot of things in life that are going to try and get a reaction out of you, but it's such a waste of energy. Like, don't give in to it, because not everything needs a reaction. Don't be wrong. There are a lot of things in life where you should use your voice and you should react to them when it's like very important causes. But if it's someone just talking shit to you, just to talk shit to you, to who's projecting their shit, don't react, because I don't know, especially recently, I've had certain people just, I can tell that they're hurting and they just, you know.
It's a mismanagement of their own energy, and their energy in that point in time is very negative. And as someone that holds themselves very high and your energy levels are very high. Well, no, they're high, dude. You don't see them, but people around you will see them. And the thing that I'm getting to is when you come across individuals like that, it's best to just tame and be calm.
Because a lot of the times too is that certain situations, certain people, they want a reaction out of you so they can feel some kind of validation, so they can just keep going back and forth and just feed into this negative, toxic energy. And it's so unnecessary a lot of times. I'm not saying that you have to be positive and let people walk all over you all the time. But what I'm saying is that certain situations, just, it's not even worth it, because you're going to get just worked up, and then you're going to just be exploding and like letting them suck your energy even more. It's just, you just got to be very selective with that. That's what I'm saying. Not everything needs a reaction. Some do, but not everything. And what? Shoot, I lost my place. No, I found it. And with the next one, I learned this a while back. I like to say that at first I thought I did, until I really like dug in deeper and I realized I hadn't. And it's still something that I know I realize I struggle with, especially with certain people in my life. But to forgive other people who have hurt you, and this is very like selective too. This doesn't apply to a lot of things in life, but most things in life, I think it's important to just forgive people who have hurt you, or forgive those who have wronged you, but not for them. You don't even have to tell them you forgave them. You really don't. It's always more for you, because you don't want to carry all that hate, all that anger, all that hurt onto the rest of your life. Because I know people who are like bien amargada and like bitter, mad at the world, still victim mentality, and it doesn't get them very far in life. You know, I see them now and I can't help but feel sorry for them. And this isn't in any condescending type of way. It's just genuine sympathy and empathy for them, because I know how hard it is to forgive sometimes. Like, it's a lot easier said than done, because I've had people who have wronged me in this life really painfully, and even people that I consider family, who I consider close friends. I've had a lot of people do me wrong, but I've worked very hard to forgive almost every single one of them, because I don't want to hold on to that. Because it's just going to affect every relationship I have going forward. It's just going to affect me in the long term, and it just hurts my soul. And you know, at the end of the day, I want more than anything for me to be happy, and for my soul to be at peace. So I can't keep holding on to that. So I advise that to everybody. And I always tell them, it's at your time. Obviously, I don't expect people to be forgiving each other the next day after certain things happen, or even like in a year. Sometimes it takes longer than that. But as long as you find the way to let your soul be at peace with the things that have happened, or the people, all that, you know. And that goes into, because like at the end of the day, you don't want to be concerned about the past. You don't want to worry too much about the future. You want to stay present. That's another thing I've learned, is to try and be as present as I possibly can. And again, that is something that I've definitely had a hard time with, because, you know, I have anxiety. I've had depression since I want to say 13. So from a very young age, I didn't really know what it was right away. I just knew that I would just have these episodes. And as I got a little bit older, I realized what it was. And, you know, and people throw that word around, depression and anxiety, really loosely. You know, people say that they're sad and they're depressed. And I try to be as sensitive as I can to it. That's why I don't always talk about it with a lot of random strangers. This is probably the first time I really do, besides, like, I mean, the people closest to me who I'm really cool with, like, they know. I have these episodes, a lot of us do. I feel like a lot of us in the millennial Gen Z have our own spouts with it, with anxiety and depression. And a lot of that has to do with, you know, a lot of it was triggered from shit from my past. And even now that I'm 26, I still have certain triggers that will, you know, get me to spiral. And when I get really anxious more than anything when I start thinking about too much about the future. And the one thing that's really helped me in the past 2 years is trying to work very, very hard to stay present and not fixate too much on things that I can't really control. Because that is the one thing, is control for sure. It's so hard though. Like, it's so hard, and I'm not even gonna pretend like it isn't. But
all in due time, dude.
Yeah, you know, and I'm my own worst critic, but I've gotten better about that for sure. And also, don't let anyone keep you in a box. You know, I feel like the reason I started to hate the name Lynn is because I felt like I was just formed into this, people just formed this opinion of me of what that meant, and I felt like I started to feel like I was conformed into a box of who I thought people thought I was, which is crazy because it's not, and I don't mean that in a way where I think I'm famous or anything, but that can even just be with even in your closest friends or just people that know you, you know, when, especially in the worlds that we live in. You know, I've raved for 7 years now, since 2015, 7 years. You know, I've been on EDM Twitter. I've been in party scenes. I've had very different cliques, but I may know a lot of people. I'm a very friendly person, but there's only a small group that actually knows me. Like, although he knows me, they know me at my core. They know that, yes, I have this name of Lynn, and I like to drink and I like to party, but that is not completely who I am. People that know me know that probably my favorite times are when it's just like us kicking it, watching movies, chilling, or if I'm just or just home, just cooking, drinking coffee, binging my TV shows. Like, those are I love days like that. You know, it's in this title of Lynn. Sometimes it's a little annoying when there's times I don't really want to drink like that, and they're like, "Oh, you're Lynn, you have to." No. And I'm like, no, I don't. Even right now, this month, I'm doing a sober month. I try to do a sober month every once in a while, and so far, staying strong. Sober as in alcohol, though, because I smoke still every now and then.
You have to have some kind of caveat.
Yeah, man. And so don't let other people form this opinion of you and confine you to a box, you know. People, and I feel like that goes with anything in life. You know, we're always growing, we're always evolving. So when people tell you that you've changed, that should be a compliment, you know. What else? Oh, there's another random one, but it's so important. But fucking stretch, dude. I just fucked up my back this week, and I stretch hella. So imagine if I didn't. Like, I remember how much my back would hurt. Like, I would get back pains way more often before I really started stretching. And I started incorporating more stretches into my, I'd wake up and stretch. It's not even that I'm at the gym. I mean, now I go to the gym now, and for sure I stretch, you know. Especially hip stretches. Hip mobility is so important. But I get the worst back pains because, you know, when I'm not a skinny bitch. I'm on the heavier side. You know, you're bound to get back pain because of that too. And just like everything in your body hurts more. But also, I have big boobs. I've had big boobs since I was like 14, 15. You know, I developed really early. So I've had back pain. And you know, I used to run a lot, and that fucked me up. And now I try to gym a couple times a week. So it's so important to stretch. You know, you don't want to be fucking old and like all fucked up, you know? So just start stretching now.
Gotta preserve the temple.
Hell yeah. Take care of your body. And also, you know, if you stretch more, you're flexible more, which means more flexible. There you go. Can never English. But you'll be more flexible, so, you know, that's even better sex, too. You know, gotta think long run. And speaking of thinking long run, get a good skincare routine. My skin looks like shit right now, but that's because, you know, weather change and also because I changed products, and I really regret it. So get a good skincare routine. I know for guys, it's a little bit easier. I know girls, we kind of have to switch out our shit every couple months because, like, all the shit we go through with our skin. But skincare is so important. Like I said, you want to look young for as long as possible. So I feel like I'm yelling at y'all and I'm not. This is just shit I've learned personally. Whether you take this or not, take the shit with a grain of salt. But if you do take it, I still think it's pretty solid advice personally. Yeah.
Yeah, talk your shit, Lynn.
And this kind of relates to some of the shit I was saying before. When I wrote this list, I should have just made it all cohesively together, like put the random stuff towards the bottom. But, some of them are going to be interlooped because I just kind of word vomited this and just thought of shit and just wrote it down. So this is a big one that, we always say. And it kind of sucks because the one thing about healing and growing is that it makes you even more of an understanding person. So you can't even just be mad at people, because you realize that hurt people hurt people. And what I mean by that is that hurt people are going to project their shit onto you so that you're hurting too. Or how was that one saying? It's like, heal the shit that hurt you so you don't bleed onto others or something like that.
I think you hit the nail on the coffin.
Yeah, and it's just remembering that a lot of the times the people that are coming at you that have hurt you, like whether it's someone who's fucked you over in a relationship or made you feel used or has just in any type of way hurt you, a lot of that stems back from the fact that they've been hurt at some point in their life and it's not your fault. And just always remember that most of the time it's not your fault. I mean, again, situational, but it's just their own bullshit that they don't want to heal from or they haven't healed from. They're just pushing it onto you. And that's the thing is that now it's kind of annoying because I'll get mad at certain people when they do shit. And then once I actually sit with it, I'm like, man, their mama probably hurt them or they probably had daddy issues or some shit or, and they're just pushing that shit onto me. And, it's not their fault that they just weren't hugged enough as a child, and you just start thinking about all these things. You're not justifying it, but you're understanding why they are the way that they are. Sometimes it's kind of annoying because I just want to be mad sometimes, but I can't, which is good because I shouldn't, it's bad for the soul anyways.
Well, this goes back to what you just mentioned before about not reacting to things.
That's the one thing that helps, though. It keeps me from not reacting because I start thinking about, like, why they are the way that they are. I don't know. I know not everyone's like that because a lot of people just act first and then think. And I can be like that. Don't get me wrong. I've had moments where I've popped off, where I've fallen into it, where I've gotten mad as hell and reacted. And then that's the thing. Most of the time, I always end up just regretting it in some type of way. Not regret, but I'm like, man, I shouldn't have done that. I could have handled that a lot better, and delivery is just so important in that way because a lot of situations could be rectified if you just delivered things a lot better. Like I've seen fights where I've had to like sit them down and try and help them figure shit out. And it could have been handled so differently. It's just, delivery is everything. But speaking of delivery, self-talk is so important. I'm pretty big on affirmations now. I remember when I first started doing affirmations, I thought it was really silly. I'm like, I'm really going to be talking to my... look at this right now. I'm doing a whole podcast. But now imagine how I was before, where I couldn't even do affirmations, where you're literally talking to yourself and saying all this nice shit to yourself. And I thought I could do a podcast before. Like, nah. That's how we're doing it now. Because now I've learned to do that. Because self-talk is so important. The way that you talk to yourself is how the world is really going to treat you too. Because how do you expect the world to treat you right if you can't even treat yourself right? And all those things that you say to yourself too, even if it's... Dude, I was the queen of self-deprecation jokes. Like, I used to say all this dumb shit because the mentality of it is that, if I say it first, you can't say it, or if you say it, it doesn't hurt as much because I already say this about myself. I used to always tell, and I still stand by this, like, people can't really hurt me and they can say whatever they want about me because trust me, where I've said some worse shit about myself because I used to hate myself. I used to talk all this mad shit to myself, like, oh, you're stupid, you're fat, you're dumb, you're like all this negative talk, And the thing with your subconscious is your subconscious doesn't know the difference. You say all that shit out loud, even if you're joking, it's gonna register that and internalize that. And in your subconscious, you're really gonna be thinking that. You're really gonna think, I'm ugly, I'm stupid. And it's not even just like the look stuff, but also like, oh, I'm never gonna be happy, or I'm never gonna find a boyfriend, or I'm never gonna find someone that loves me. No. All this negative self-talk, you manifest it into your life. So the way that you speak to yourself is so important. Like, think about the way that you speak to your friends. I'm sure you don't go around I mean, maybe you do. Sometimes I do. Okay, let me retreat that. But like, you know, when you joke around, every now and then you'll tell your friend, you're fucking stupid. But you don't actually mean it. And you know they know you don't mean it. But you're not actually there, like, with your friend in front of you telling, like, oh, you're fucking stupid. You're not going to amount to anything. You're never going to get a boyfriend in it. And you don't, like, when you're saying that shit to yourself, you mean it with your whole chest. And you would never do that to your friend. So why are you going to treat yourself any differently? You got to look at yourself as if you're your own best friend, because you are. You're your own cheerleader, for goodness sake. So you might as well start that shit now. Go to your room right now. This is what I did, which is kind of funny because I remember when I first did this, I took a sticky note and I wrote like 5 affirmations and I posted on my mirror in my bathroom, because every day I look in the mirror. And it was funny though, because like a couple of people would come over after and I would forget that it's there, obviously, because it's just in my bathroom. I don't think about it. And so I've had a couple of friends who were in my bathroom, and then afterwards they're like, man, I feel so good about myself. And I was like, because you like relieved yourself, or what? Like, I didn't get it. And they're like, oh, because your little sticky note on your mirror, like I read it and I feel so good about myself. I'm like, I mean, I'm happy for you, but also I'm like, damn, I kind of forgot that was there. You know, kind of just embarrassing, but also it's not embarrassing, because at the end of the day, like, you know, it's good that you're talking to yourself that way, like in a positive manner. And I have other friends who, you know, I've been on that same wavelength too, we're trying not to, you know, talk shit about ourselves anymore. You know, it's bad.
Self-love is the best love.
Pretty much. That's the thing, you know, self-love is so important, you know. And my next rule is no one owes you a goddamn thing. So you might as well love yourself, okay? Self-love is very important. But this rule for real, no one owes you a goddamn thing. So that's why you can't even be mad. I don't know, man. I feel like so many of us, when we're really young, we were so mad at the universe, so mad at the world, our teen angst and whatever. And once you get into your 20s and you're getting older, you have to reparent yourself and, you know, heal the traumas that you've had from your past and all your bullshit, because no one owes you a fucking thing, dude. No one owes you a thing. And I don't mean that in a completely bad way. It's just, it makes life so much simpler once I realize that, you know. And it's the same thing. Like, I don't owe anyone anything. I don't owe anyone an explanation. And, like, for example, if I decide to cut someone off, I really don't owe them an explanation. Sure, yeah, we've had a friendship for a very long time. But if you've wronged me, you've wronged me. And I don't owe you an explanation. You know, if you want an explanation, it's just so you can, you know, understand and make yourself feel better. But at the end of the day, like, you maybe just self-reflect and think about what the fuck that you did that made me get to that point where I cut you off. Especially me. One, I have a hard time letting people go. I'm working on that. And I could do that a lot healthier now, anyways. But there's a point to this. Oh, I blanked out for a second. Oh. It takes a lot for me to cut people off. It takes a lot for me to be confrontational. So I try not to be. So if I don't want to be, I won't. You know, and if you've done something to me to where I cut you off, you know you fucked up. If I'm mad at you, you know you fucked up. If I'm like genuinely mad, because there's like the type of mad where I'm like semi-mad with people, but like I get over it in like 2 seconds because I don't get mad too often. I don't like to be mad. To me, it's a waste of energy, so I try not to be. So if I'm so mad that I cut you off, it's because you fucked up. And I don't really owe people an explanation for anything. Anything that you do, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Just like no one owes you anything on their end either. I don't know if any of that made sense, because I feel like I went in circles with that one, but it made sense in my head.
Made sense to me too.
It made sense in my head. Just, you know, no one owes you a goddamn thing. So enjoy life and make the best of it. And you know, we're all here for a short amount of time, so we might as well make the most of it and not be mad at every little thing that someone does, you know? And people thinking that the world owes them something, it's their own expectations. And I heard someone say this, and when I learned it and I heard it, it really registered in my mind because it was so true. It made me think back on all the expectations I've had in my life. And expectations are disappointments in the making. And it's very, very true, because a lot of the times when I've had these high expectations of people, of a situation, of a relationship, of a friendship, of a job opportunity, just anything in this life, just expectations are disappointments in the making. A lot of those times I've been disappointed. And it's my own, we shouldn't have such high expectations, you know, because people, the way life works, anything can happen, you know. And I'm not saying have low expectations. I mean, in a way, yeah, I kind of am. It's just having no expectations, really. Just go into life, no expectations, no thinking something should go a certain type of way, because you're just going to disappoint yourself. Because when you start to get this kind of, words are failing me right now.
It's a little bit later in the day. It's okay. You're fine.
Yeah, and I was smoking before, so, and I don't know, I'm a little tired. But
what you're trying to get at is to tell people not to put all their chips into one pot.
Exactly.
Because if you do and you end up losing it all, then you're left with nothing, and then you just beat yourself down thinking, damn, why'd I do that?
A little oily. But yes, expectations are disappointments in the making. I heard that on someone else's podcast. I don't remember who, but ever since I heard that quote, I remember when I first heard it, I immediately wrote it down on my whiteboard. Because a lot of the times I'll have these expectations of people, and for what? They don't owe me anything. It goes into my last rule. No one owes you anything. So why are you having these expectations of people? And it's not that everyone's going to let you down, because that's not what I'm trying to say. It's just that a lot of times you'll put a person, a thing, a situation on a pedestal, and for what? It's not everything. It's not your whole world, you know? So just, you know, go into life with no expectations. It's a lot more fun that way. And also, do not make assumptions. Take life for what it is. Take a situation for what it is. Take a person for who they are. Once you start assuming, what's that one saying? It's like once you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, or something like that.
I have not heard that one.
Oh, it's something along those lines. Once you start making assumptions of people, that's when you fuck up. Because I've had people make a lot of assumptions about me. I've made assumptions of other people, and you know, it's kind of like, I know you all have a friend where when you met them, you're like, damn, not gonna lie, when I met you, I thought you were a bitch. Turns out you weren't. Shouldn't have assumed. Because then sometimes you stop yourself from certain situations because you assume or you think that it's a certain type of way when it's not.
You're usually one that gets put through the ringer with assumptions.
I know. People be assuming all kinds of things about me. That shit's so funny. And a lot of times I just be chilling here, vibing. I just be trying to have a good time with my friends and enjoy my life. Nothing more. And, you know, I'm very, very fortunate with the people that I have in my life. For my birthday this year, for example, normally I would post a picture of myself with the caption kind of like this, just talking about, you know, my life or the past year and just reflecting, because as you can tell, I like to self-reflect. It's very important. But for example, last year I did a whole photo shoot, which was its own thing in itself, because I've never done that before, you know, stepping out of the box and trying something new, which was a lot of fun. Shout out Evie, amazing photographer, A1. But this year I decided to do something a little differently. And I totally stole this idea from Eddie. Love you. I asked him. But I took videos and pictures and clips of most of the people in my life. Honestly, going through a lot of videos was a lot of work. So I just did the best I could. I couldn't include everybody, but the people in my life that they know who they are, you know, that are very, very important to me. And I kind of just dedicated it to them and just shouted them out in the fact that You know, I wouldn't be where I am in my life and be the person that I am if it wasn't for the people in my life. And the only reason that is because I learned to let others be there for me. And that it's okay to let them be there for me. It's okay to let them do things for me. Because I'm very much the person where I'm like, no, I can do it myself. No, I'm fine. No, I'm okay. Because the way I grew up, like I said, I had to internalize my own feelings. And my feelings didn't matter as much, you know. At least that's what I thought, you know. And I felt as if I didn't have anyone that I can confide in or have anyone that'll actually stick around. If anyone's watched One Tree Hill, one of the characters, Peyton, she would always do these little drawings, and she would always say, people always leave. And it was funny because in that show, eventually she learns that people don't always leave. No. Me being the very angsty teen that I was, I just very much fixated on that part because that's how I felt for a long time, that people always leave. And I realized that between, you know, when you're really young to pretty much like around 24, at least this is what I heard, you meet a lot of temporary people that, you know, come and go, which is funny because this goes into another role, but let's finish this one first. But the people that have stuck around and that I've let them be there for me, they've, you know, proven themselves to be great people in my life, and I'm very, very fortunate. And I always say that I'm so lucky that I've learned to just let them be there for me, and, you know, that they haven't disappointed me and they haven't, you know, thrown shit back in my face or turned their backs on me. And don't get me wrong, I've had friends that were there for me and I let them be there for me. That didn't work out, or like we're not as close anymore, but it's okay too. And the people that are in my life now have probably done a lot more for me than some of my family. And that is the other thing, unfortunately, I had to learn at a really young age, is that family or blood isn't always everything. And I know it sounds fucked up, and, you know, everyone's different. You know, other people have great relationships with their family, and I'm not knocking that at all. You know, like, I love my dad. I'm pretty close to my dad, and I'm cool with a lot of my family. And this isn't a diss to them one bit, because I have a lot of love for my family, especially my dad, and I never want him to feel like, you know, this isn't a knock to him one bit, just disclaimer. But blood and family isn't everything. I have people in my life who I'm not related to, but I call family. Like Aldo's family, Perla's family. Like, I have people in my life that are fucking family. And I would fucking die for them in an instant. I would do anything for them, you know, because they've been there for me in my highest of highs, but also my lowest of lows. And they've accepted me even when I was at really low, even when I wasn't at my top tip shape, you know. Because I've been a piece of shit person, and I know that because we've all been a piece of shit person at some point. And they've stuck through me, and they've watched me grow and have pushed me to grow, but still accepted me even when I wasn't fully there yet, you know. And so blood isn't family. They're my family, you know. And family are the ones that you choose sometimes. It's the village that you create. And that's what I always talk about. I always talk about the village I've created, you know. And sorry, I'm getting a little choked up. Nah, but it's just, I can talk about the village I've created on and on and on, because I'm just so eternally grateful. And I know the people, I can't English, but a lot of the people that are going to be watching this starting off are those people. So I love you guys, and, you know, I can never say it enough, and I'm so grateful that you guys push me to be the person that I am and continue to see the best in me. And, you know, people say that the people closest to you are a reflection of you, and I'd like to think that, or I'd like to say that I'm very proud of the reflection that I have, you know, if that makes sense, because I'm so proud to call you guys my friends and my family and my village, because y'all are the shit. And, you know, I'm gonna stop being gay for a second and go into this next one, because now we're all gonna just be crying here. But Healing also means taking responsibility for the role you played in your own suffering. That one cut me, because owning up to your own shit is hard. Like, I'm the queen of I love to be right. Okay? I'm not gonna knock that. I like to be right. Am I always right? No. There, I said it. I'm not always right. But especially in instances where I've put myself in situations where I got hurt, it's very easy to look at whatever situation it is. Like, for example, certain heartbreaks that I've had. Don't get me wrong. I've had guys fuck me over, and very much, it was on them. But there were certain instances where I definitely could have walked away a lot sooner, where I could have not been in those type of situations, where I could have taken their word for what it was and taken for the situation for what it was. But I didn't, It's one of those things where you see red flags, but you paint them green, And now I'm a lot better of it. I see them red flags and I'm like, maybe I should walk away. Definitely walking away. And I've definitely it's definitely gotten a lot easier to cut off certain situations that don't benefit me. I can see a certain situation, I can see a certain red flags and being like, you know what? I am worth more than that. And that's because I've been able to, take accountability for my own part in my own suffering. But I ain't gonna lie, that shit is hard as fuck. So slowly but surely you'll be able to get there. And I hope everyone does, because man, it's so hard to own up to your own shit sometimes, because you gotta look in the mirror and be like, damn, you fucked up too. It takes two to tango.
The ego's a motherfucker, dude.
Ego, there we go, that's the word. It's ego. Your ego can fuck you up terribly, but it's learning to really check it and keep it in check. But this next one is one I live by. I live by. And I know my homies do too. So it's support the homie or you ain't the homie. And I know you guys know that I say that all the time. And I know you guys say it all the time. And we really do, live by that. Or at least we try to. Don't be wrong. At the same time, you got to be willing to call them out on their own shit, And what I mean, support the homie or you ain't the homie, I mean, like, in their endeavors, I've gone to a lot of my friends, like, shows or anything that they've, try to do. I try to be there. If I really can't, obviously, I can't, but, I'll support it. Okay.
Minor technical difficulty, but you're fine.
Okay, cool. But yeah, for the most part, I try and support my friends as much as I can, just like they've always supported me, So we live by that rule forever. And so this next one really just goes into what I was saying before, is that you're going to meet a lot of temporary people when you're young, and that's okay. Some people just come into your life for a season. They're not meant to always be in your life. They're not always meant to be around forever. And I think that one was really hard for me because I've always had such a close bond with my friends to where I felt like they were my village, that they were my family. It was very hard for me to understand that not everyone in my life is going to be there forever. Like I said, there's some people are just meant to be in your life for a season, as sad as that is. Although there are some people in my life right now where if y'all try to leave, I'm going to find you. I'm going to fuck you up. And I'm going to drag you back here. But there are some people, and you'll know when it's their season has ended, their chapter has ended. You'll know. Sometimes you won't want to read it right away or like flip the page right away, but you'll know. And when the time comes, hopefully, it gets easier and you can just understand that, you can part ways with someone without it being an argument, without it being a whole thing. You can part ways with people where it's very cordial, or sometimes you don't even have to say anything. Some things just fizzle out, and that's totally okay. And this next one, this is the last one, guys. We made it to 26. That's crazy. Honestly, these are pretty good. So, I mean, you could take all of this with a grain of salt, but I'd like to think this is pretty solid life lessons, at least for me. And this last one is hard, and this is one that I feel like everyone our age kind of has a hard time really understanding and accepting, and we forget all the time, is that everyone has their own timeline. Society has instilled in us that we're supposed to finish high school, then go to college, then get married, and then have kids, and yada, 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 yada. But in this very modern world, that's not realistic, you know? Don't be wrong. If you have that and you do that, all the power to you, but not everyone's going to be like that. I'm not. I only went to, I think, maybe a semester of college, and then life really hit me, and I got kicked out of my house, and I had to figure shit out for myself, you know? And I haven't had the most traditional or whatever type of lifestyle. Don't be wrong, I've made a lot of missteps in my life where I definitely, you know, put certain situations I put myself in, for sure. And I don't deny that at all. You know, I've definitely had my fair share of partying too hard phases, or, you know, being irresponsible. But I've also just been that person who's been really, really hard on myself, thinking of where I should be in life and where I'm not. And it's crazy to me how hard we are on ourselves about that. Like, where we're supposed to be right now, that's where we're meant to be. And I've very much been able to come to terms with that. Everything that's happened in my life, it happened. I don't like, actually, no, I don't like saying everything happens for a reason, because that's not true either. But, you know, we've all made choices in our lives that have led us to where we are right now. Everything in this life, there's a choice. And the choices that we've made, for the most part, have led us to where we are right now. And even though there's times where I think, oh yeah, what am I doing with my life? Or I'm not where I should be, or all those negative thoughts, I also remind myself that I'm very, very fortunate with the life that I have, because I have amazing, amazing people in my life. I've got to experience a lot of cool things. I've gone to many festivals. I've met all kind of people from different walks of life that have taught me things. And I'm a very, very strong person. Like, no one can knock me on that. I'm a very, very strong person. I'm a person who loves very hard when it comes to the people in my life. And yeah, and there's so many things in my life where it could have knocked me down, or it could have made me not want to completely, like, close myself off and not allow people into my life. But I'm very, very happy that, you know, it didn't work out that way, and that I'm still a very loving, caring person who has great people in their life. And yeah, so just don't fixate so much on this supposed timeline, because there is none. Your timeline is your timeline. Where you're going, in the end, it's all going to make sense. And I'm pretty sure in like 20 years, I'm going to look back and I'm going to laugh at all those times where I was so sad and questioning life, because it's all going to make sense. I know it's kind of hard to really think like 20 years from now, because I said to stay present, but you know what I mean.
It's the whole looking at the bigger picture thing. Sometimes you don't have to look at the bigger picture. And to touch on what you just mentioned, you know, you often hear the saying, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Hell, in this instance, it's not even any of those things. Life is just one crazy ass journey, a journey that should be enjoyed. That's when you look at others, don't ever try to compare your life to theirs, because one, you absolutely have no idea where they are at currently in their life. And then two, you're taken away from your own life, and you should be focusing on your own life at all times.
Mm-hmm. Preach. But yeah, those are the 26 things I've learned in this life so far. And honestly, I can't wait to look back on this even when I'm 30 and think about what else I've learned. And also, just anybody who listens to this, maybe take something away from this.
And sorry in advance to you and to all the friends that are going to be watching this and our future fans of this podcast. But yeah, the hour mark, the camera took a shit. So after the hour mark, you're only going to get audio.
It's already been an hour. Holy shit. I didn't even think I was going to be able to talk for that long.
Really, dude?
Yes.
You're a podcaster, dude. You forget, but you're a podcaster. You could do this shit.
She's a podcaster now. No, just kidding. I mean, I am, but I guess. But okay, well, I'm glad we got through that. 26 was a lot of things. And I had put something on my podcast IG story, but because like the only ones that are following on there are close homies, it's kind of perfect. So I asked a few questions. I'm gonna try and speed through this because it's already been an hour. But one of the little questions is I asked everyone to name their favorite thing about me. So this kind of made me a little emotional, but it's cute too. But I think the first one was from, hold on, I gotta scroll through this. You would think I would have this prepared. We're almost done though.
Yeah. We'll bang through these. And
hi, Ron. Shout out, Ron.
Shout out to Ronald.
We wouldn't be able to do this without him. But anyways, okay, so the first one, I don't know, should I say who said it? Or should I just keep it anonymous? These are all close homies anyways.
Go ahead and shout them out.
Okay.
They're showing you love, show them love.
Okay, so the first one's from Jacob. I love you. He says his favorite thing about me is the fact that my charismatic, bubbly personality and my wisdom. I'd like to think I'm a little wise for being 26. Maybe, hopefully. And I do have a charismatic, bubbly personality. And then Teresa's was how we met. And that's its own story that we don't need to get into. Because that is it's just funny in itself. That's its own funny story. I'm going to say that for another day. Maybe when Teresa can come on here, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Because that's a funny story. It's one of those stories where Lynn was kind of born. It was one of those days where she was really, at an all-time high.
If anything, that story is what made Lynn come alive.
Honestly, yes. I think so. And then this one's from Aldo. And he said, my ability to adapt and reinvent myself. And supposedly that's a Gemini thing, so. But also it's just
never mind, I'll take that back.
No, it's because we're a mutable sign. We adapt to everything. But it's true. That is a one Gemini fact or trait that I'm actually really proud of, is that I can do that. But it's not even just being a Gemini. It's just I've had to, in this life with everything that I've gone through. It's kind of made me be that person. And I used to see it as a bad thing, and now I see it as such a good thing, that I'm able to continuously grow, reinvent myself, adapt to situations. And this one's from Nancy. Shout out, Nancy. She said, definitely how you speak when you talk about something you love. And I love that about anyone, to be honest. So I feel like that's a really good compliment. Because one of my favorite things is when I'm talking to someone and they're just going on and on and on about something that they love. Like their face lights up and they get really excited. It's one of my favorite things.
It's passion.
Mm-hmm. And this one's from Allie, and she says, my favorite thing is your growth. And thank you. That was one of my favorite things too. Because, guys, it's really hard sometimes. Sometimes you're like, I'm tired of healing. Can I just be stupid? But once you get to a certain point in your healing journey, you can't look back. Because you're just like, I can't act that way anymore. And this one is from Nicole. I love you, Nicole. She says that you like dad jokes and you're a down-ass person. And I really am, because, like I said, I recently stuck into Coachella, so I'm a down-ass bitch. And my dad jokes are A1. And I love dad jokes, so tell me your best dad joke, please. And I'll probably laugh, because I'm really corny like that. And this one's from Nessa. She said, you always give great advice and a great shoulder to cry on if needed. I love you, bestie. And then this one is from Z. I love you, Z. And he said, your overall positive vibes and your smile makes everything bright. And I would like to think so. I try to be as positive as I can. Don't get me wrong. I can be a negative ass bitch. I just try not to project that onto other people anymore. And then, so this is kind of just, I did this so that people can understand who I am, the type of person that I am. And not just from me, just talking about myself, but, you know, from other people. So now you kind of have an idea of how my friends see me. But I also asked them to name a random fact about me. So this one, there's only a few, so we can speed through this even more. I'm going to save Jacob's for last because that one's funny. But the one that Teresa said really made me, okay, you can't see it, but that shit made me smile, and that shit made my heart all warm and fuzzy. But Teresa said that my nose wrinkles when I laugh or smile really hard. And that's so cute. And then Aldo said, a random fact about me is that I cook a mean mac and cheese. And I will say, you know, for being a little Mexican girl, I actually make a pretty good mean mac and cheese. I put a lot of love into it. That's why it's delicious.
Fire. Mm-hmm. With a PH.
Mm-hmm. And Nicole's random fact is that she said, I'm very driven to grow as a person. And I really am, you know. I always want to be the better version of myself. I want to be the better version of myself that I was last year, last month, last week, yesterday. Always growing, you know. It never stops. And this one is from Ernie. Shout out Ernie. He said that I'm a coffee addict. And I really am. I love coffee. You know, I can drink coffee any time of day. And it's bomb. But, like, I'm more of a cold brew person. Don't be wrong. Every now and then, I'll like a nice hot cup of coffee in the morning, especially in the winter. But I can have cold brew all year round. And then going with drinks, Nessa said that her random fact is that I'm a tequila girly, and I really am. I love tequila, but good tequila. Dude, so yesterday, you know, okay, so I just got on dating apps really recently. That's its own story, but
we're definitely getting into that.
Yeah. That's gonna be its own episode. I might have close friends for that one because I don't have as much experience. But anyways, so this guy, I asked him I think it was on Hinge. I was like, what's your favorite tequila? Because he says that he goes crazy for tequila and tacos. And me, I'm going to judge you on your answer. Because I am a tequila girly. I'm a semi-baby tequila connoisseur. I don't be drinking that gross-ass cheap tequila. But also, it's not even just that. It's just I try to be a little bit more educated. You know, like, I don't even drink Don Julio 1942 like that anymore, or even Clase Azul, because I know that a lot of that tequila is actually made with a lot of additives and it don't taste right. But anyways, that's getting into a whole other thing. But so I'm gonna judge whatever this guy says, right? Tell me why this guy said Jose Cuervo. And if anybody that knows anything about tequila knows that Jose Cuervo is not it. That Jose Cuervo is like the bottom of the barrel. Jose Cuervo actually technically isn't considered tequila. Like, look it up. It's not even tequila because they put so much shit in it that it's not even real tequila. So, yeah, I had to unmatch because that was disgusting. I was like, I am disgusted. My taste palette, no. Because that either means he has no taste. He has terrible taste. Or he's cheap. Or, I don't know, that he can only afford the tequila. I don't know. I'm also just a little judgy, but
let's just put it this way. Jose Cuervo is what Bud Light is to beer. Yes,
maybe even worse, honestly. Like, no. And I know this made me sound judgmental as fuck, but I'm a tequila girly. What can I say?
Was this guy Caucasian?
No, dude. That's what pissed me off even more. He was Hispanic. I was like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Daniel. Damn.
Maybe he was a No Sabo kid. I don't know. But, guys, I can't believe we actually went over an hour. This is exciting. This is fun. And I really love and appreciate everyone who listens. So go follow the Instagram if you haven't already. Follow or subscribe. Follow whatever it is for Spotify for the podcast. I'll get it down, guys. I'll get it down, okay? I'll be like one of those influencers or social media or podcaster people. I don't know what it is. But, follow all the socials. I'll have them up at this point, I'm sure. Because I'm sure when this is out, I'm going to put this on my Instagram and the podcast Instagram. And I didn't make a Twitter for it, to be honest. But I probably should. TikTok, everything, all the things. Follow us. Follow me. And thank you. I appreciate you guys' support. And I love you guys. Y'all are the best.
To many more, dude.
To many more. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have a good day.
And that was Lit Lynn. Later, everyone.